My name is Sarah. Welcome to the It is a Sarah podcast. Today it is Monday, June 2nd, 2025, and in this episode I want to share my handwerk perikelen. That's a Dutch word for crafty adventures from this week with you. I'm coming to you from the Netherlands, so excuse my Dutchy English. I love to knit, I love to crochet, and I love to talk. So that's the perfect combination for making this podcast. I make my episodes in Dutch and in English, so be sure you pick the right one. Okay, I am sitting at my knitting office, and it was quite cloudy, but now the sun is coming through and the light is very sharp, and my eyes are very sensitive for bright light at the moment. It's the hay fever and I am sensitive for light anyway, but making a knitting podcast with wearing sunglasses, it would be a little bit weird, I guess. So I didn't expect the sun, but I'm really in the filming mood right now. So we shall see how it will work out. I want to share my crafty adventures from this week with you, and they were not very good actually. I had a very busy week, and that influenced my knitting and crochet happiness a lot. Of course, I didn't have a lot of time to knit and crochet, but there was also a lot of frustration. And I want to share a little bit of that frustration today. I'm not sure if that's really inspiring to watch, but it reminded me it can also be helpful to see other one's frustration. It's a bit the same when you are camping and your neighbors at the camping place are arguing. You can see a little bit more of somebody's life when you are camping than when you are all in your houses. Then yeah, it's not very obvious, but when you are camping, some details are much clearer for your neighbors than others. And when your neighbors are arguing, it's always, yeah, I feel sorry for them, but it's also a little bit of relief. Oh, they argue too every now and then. And also when you hear another mother being unreasonable to her child because he's busy and stressed, you feel sorry for the mother and of course the child, but also you feel a little bit of relief. Oh, they do that too. That mother does that too. So yeah, the knitting frustration, don't feel guilty if you feel relief. Oh, she has that too. I try to share my frustration always, but it always ends with a success because then I'm already finished. But now I won't finish. I do have a happy end, a HeartJumping end, but my projects are not happy at the moment. Yeah. Okay, but I want to start with our jumping moment because I also have... Oh no, I want to start with what I'm wearing. I'm sorry, I almost forgot. This is my Sommerknus tee. It is a pattern by Elsebeth, Judith, and I told about it a few episodes ago because I knitted it last year, but it was a little bit too cropped, so I added some extra length to the body and also to the sleeves, and today is the first time I'm wearing it. I really love the yarn I made it with. It's Fonty Bohème, and I think it's a yarn which is discontinued, and that's quite, in Dutch we would say jammer. That's a shame. That's sad, but that sounds a little bit too dramatic. It's not fun that the yarn is not, you can't buy it anymore. I do have a sweater quantity, a tee quantity in black, so that's happy. But it's a combination of cotton and linen, and it just feels really, really good. Yeah, it also doesn't have the shine. I love those matte yarn. Yeah, so really lovely, and the round yoke. I think this round yoke really fits my shoulders good, and I don't know really why. I did try to check the way of increasing because I think it increases quite with big steps. That's why it fits my shoulders, because it is quite a fitted garment for me, and normally I'm struggling with this part, but it seems that this one is okay, so that's also really good. Okay, I do have a finished object, and it's a pair of socks with a special story. I didn't expect this pair of socks to be a special story, so it's quite hard jumping that it became a special story. I love to have socks on my needles, always mainly different pairs of socks, because sock knitting is just so nice to do in between or on the go, or it's always in my backpack, a little project bag with a little sock. And yeah, you can always make yourself or other people happy with a pair of socks. So I really love knitting socks. And I'm starting to tell, but I did film it. I did film it for you earlier. So let's go to the sock story, and I will see you in a minute. Hello, hello! It is Saturday, May 31, quite early in the morning, so I might look a little bit sleepy, and my hay fever eyes, they need some extra time to look fresh and fruity this time of the year. But this is the only moment I can show you a finished object, because I will give it away later today. It will be quite warm today, so I'm looking very summery. I'm wearing my May top. I knitted it last year, and it's just such a good and lovely pattern to knit and also to wear, and it's really one of my favorites. Yeah, I also am wearing my new skirt, and I have some doubts about the skirt, but I will come back to that later, not today. Today it will be about this pair of socks. Very long slouchy socks in happy colors. I will tell you all about that right now. Let me start with the yarn. A few months ago, I think at the end of 2024, I made an order at an online shop, my absolutely favorite shop in the Netherlands. It's from Guerin, and the shop is called Little Shop Around the Corner, and it's an online shop, and she sells all my favorite things, I guess. She does sell yarn too, but also all the embroidery, the jewelry I wear all the time. Linen dresses, linen skirts, those kind of I don't know. What is the name in English? We call it saltstone. Is that also? Is it so easy? All those things, and the bracelets, and the gemstones, and all the things, and yarn, and books, and woolen garments, wool silk, t-shirts and tops. So yeah, I think I was ordering that, and then I always check the yarn section. That's very dangerous. But I found a little ball of sock yarn, a 100 gram ball of sock yarn, and I love the colors. A little bit out of my comfort zone, but I did love it. It is from a Dutch brand which is called Scheepjes. Scheepjes Arcadia, in the color Mesa. And yeah, I didn't need it, but I just wanted, you know how it works. And I decided to cast on the socks in February, and it was actually meant to practice with my shorty needles. I talked about those needles and knitting socks on shorties in previous episodes, but this was actually the plan to knit on shorties. But when I was knitting these socks, just toe up and knit all the stitches straight, I really had a strong feeling that this yarn wanted to be knit in a rib pattern and not in a straight pattern. It's just the color changes are quite slow. It's not a busy stripy pattern, and also I don't know, it was just a strong feeling. So I decided to knit my shorty socks with different yarn, and I showed them a few episodes ago, and changed for this pair of socks to magic loop needles, and I knitted it in a knit 3 purl 1 stitch pattern. Those socks are knitted toe up, so I casted on 16 stitches with the Turkish cast on. Then I increased every other round until I had 28 stitches on my needle. Am I saying it correctly? Yeah, I made a little adjustment. I will come back to that. Then I knitted 10 rounds straight. I always do that after increasing the stitches. because I think a little bit of a deeper toe is much more of my preference. I think it's looking better than when I start the stitch pattern immediately. Then you have a very short toe, and I don't like the look of that. And then I started the stitch pattern, and when you are knitting knit 3 purl 1, it's not evenly divided, because you start with knit 3 stitches and you end with a purl 1, so it's not the same on both sides. So that's why I made one extra increase, 29 stitches, so I could start with a purl 1 stitch and then knit 3 purl 1 and end with a purl stitch. So yeah, it's on both sides you have a purl stitch to start with. I did regret, as you can see, this part of the sock from this one is quite wonky, the dancing stitches. I did knit on shorties quite some rounds, half of the foot I guess, and then I ripped it out. I am always struggling, is it ripping out or frogging? It feels a bit as if frogging is only a small part and re-knitting it, and ripping out is yeah, then you put your yarn back on your stash, but I don't know if that makes sense. I frogged, I guess. No, or maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. Maybe I can say both. Please let me know if you know. So I re-knitted with the crinkly yarn, and yeah, that's just not. I have dancing stitches and I don't like it. This one is looking much better. So next time I would put this yarn aside and I would use it in a scrappy project or whatever, and just not use it unless I really need it. But I did frog some other projects. I will tell you more about that later. So I put that yarn aside, and when I do need it, I can add it to the garment. But yeah, and I know you have some ways to decrinkle your yarn, but yeah, I don't do that actually. I once tried make it wet, but didn't really work. So yeah. Okay, so then I knitted the foot and I knitted the shadow wrap short row heel. I love that kind of heel, and after a shadow wrap short row heel I always knit 10 rounds straight at the back, because when you if you want to start the stitch pattern all the leg around, it's a little bit low, so also 10 rounds knit all at the back, and then I started the stitch pattern. And at some point you need to decrease one stitch, because you increased one extra stitch to make the stitch pattern, but when you start knitting in the round, you don't need that extra stitch anymore. So I'm not quite sure. I think I did it in the heel, but maybe I just knit 2 stitches together. No, I think I did it in the heel. Or maybe after the 10 rounds. Oh yeah, I think I did it here. Here's my decrease. Just knit 2 stitches together. It's a sock. It's not very visible. Then I knitted a very, very long leg, 180 rounds. I just love slouchy socks. I must tell, before I did that, I had a very strong feeling that these socks were not meant to be for me. I was not really making them for myself. I just wanted to knit with these colors. But these colors, they really reminded me to one of my knitting friends. She is a knitter, and actually not only to her, but her whole family. It was really, this sock yarn has the favorite colors of all of her family members. She has a family of 5, and it was orange, green, yellow, pink, and a little bit of brown. And I thought that's amazing. The favorite colors of one family catched in one sock yarn. How big is the chance that that happens? And I really love that. So I got a very strong feeling, I think those socks are meant for her. But I didn't plan knitting socks for her. She's a knitter herself, and she also knits socks. And she's very sweet, and I don't mind knitting socks for someone else. But yeah, it was just not the plan. But at some point I realized, in my opinion, or what I want is not important. These socks, it's just meant to be. They are meant to be for her. So I told her, and she loved the colors, of course. And she fitted the socks while I was knitting, and the fit was good. So yeah, I'm knitting them for her. So, and that's why I'm filming quite early in the morning, because I will meet some knitting friends today, and also her, so I want to give them away. So I knitted the slouchy leg, very long. I love leg warmers and the slouchy look, and I think she does too. I'm not quite sure, but I just wanted to knit very long socks. Also to see as much of the colors as possible. And I was really struggling with the end. I did knit 180 rounds. I didn't count. I always count my stitches, but now I was just checking if I didn't knit more than half of the yarn ball, more than 50 grams. And then I thought, let me knit the same length without measuring, just with looking. And I thought I was there, and then I decided to count my rounds, and I missed 20 rounds. So don't trust my my eyes. Yeah, I was really struggling with the last part, with the cuff. I did knit a knit to purl to cuff in the same yarn with a little bit of a decorative row. I use more often with socks, but I was not really happy with it. The knit 3 purl 1 transitioning in knit 2 purl 1, knit 2 purl 2 was not really good looking. Then I thought, but with the second sock I didn't film anything. I had no time for that last week, and now I regret, because it would be interesting to show you how it looked. But yeah, it is. It didn't happen. Then I thought the second sock, maybe it is okay when I just knit 3 purl 1 and bind off. So I did, and the bind off was looking very messy. I always use an extra stretchy bind off with the yarn overs, it depends a little bit of if I will knit a purl stitch or a knit stitch, the bind over from front to back or from back to front, and then you bind off the yarn over together with the stitch, and it gives the bind off some extra stretch, which is really nice. It quite often looks a little bit more messy, but I absolutely don't love the bind off to be too tight on socks. That's really annoying me. Yeah, it was just looking so messy. And the knit to purl to bind off, I love the look of that. It's a little bit of a zigzag and rhythmic, but knit 3 purl 1 didn't have that nice rhythm, and I realized that it's because of the knit 3 purl 1. So I couldn't make a nice bind off. I tried all the things, all the different ones, but I couldn't make a nice bind off with knit 3 purl 1. So I decided to do a knit 2 purl 2, and I needed some extra, another color, and I was really frustrated by that moment, because I spent so much time on something that just need to be a quick fix. And then I thought I need some Sarah sauce, so I wanted to add some brown, and I did pick very dark chocolate brown, but the contrast was so big, and yeah, I didn't love. I thought it was funny when you're making socks for a friend to add some sauce of yourself, but it was a little bit too much, so I decided to go for beige. It's a little bit more neutral, and when you change color in a ribbed sock, it always helps to knit one round all stitches, because the purl bumps will look like this when you change color, and that can be nice and decorative, but also, yeah, I don't know, I prefer this. You have a nice smooth transition this way. And then I started a knit 2 purl 2 stitch pattern, and that really worked, and then I could do the extra stretchy bind off with no problems. So yeah, then I blocked the socks, and of course, because of the long leg, blocking was, I tried to put 2 sock blockers in it, so the other sock blocker in the leg, but it was not really working, so I did block them slouchy this way. So blocking socks is not really necessary. I just love the look of them more when they are blocked. And yeah, so this is a pair of socks. I really hope she will like them. I am not quite sure if she loves such slouchy socks, but we shall see. It was very fun to knit them. I love the colors, they make me very happy. I love browns and neutrals, but I also love colors, and for socks that's perfect. And yeah, it's also nice to knit socks for a friend, even when you didn't plan it. It was very fun that my socks, this yarn, they had their own opinion. They wanted to be for her, and it was very nice to to realize that. So yeah, lovely slouchy socks, finished object. Will bring it to my friend today. Okay, last weekend I gave the pair of socks to my friend, and that was an unexpected heart jumping moment for me. It was a heart jumping moment for her, but she was so happy and touched and grateful that I knitted her a pair of socks. And that was really special to notice. That was really heart jumping. I really didn't expect that. I didn't think about it actually. The socks just happened, and it made me realize that knitting a pair of socks for a sock knitter is extra special, because a sock knitter does know how many time and effort you put in those socks, and someone who doesn't knit socks doesn't know. And of course they are happy too when I actually never knit socks for sock knitters, I guess, because they can knit them themselves, a pair of socks. Themselves, doesn't matter. But this was surprisingly happy and heart jumping, so it was really nice, and the socks, the fit was perfect, and they looked very good at her, and yeah, it was just a nice moment, so really happy. Yeah, my other knitting and crochet moments were not as happy the rest of the week. I had a very busy week. I was really stressed. There was nothing special happening, there was nothing dramatic happening, just life was happening, and I was on a speed level, for speed frequency, that it was only going faster and faster, and I needed to run to do everything I needed to do, and there was not a lot of time for knitting and crochet. And lucky me, I have that routine that I start my days with at least 30 minutes of knitting or crochet, and I did do that last week. So I learned that from the past. When you don't do that and you have busy weeks, you won't touch your needle the rest of the day. And for me, knitting and crochet is really an important thing to do. It's my way of relaxing, but it's also my way of being creative. It's keeping my fire burning, and when I skip it, when I don't do it as much as I need, that's not good for me. It's really self-care, and it's always interesting because we need to prioritize our self-care, but quite often when you are busy, one of the first things that you skip is your self-care because you're caring for others. And every now and then that happens, and that's not really a problem when it's not structural, but we need to be aware that we prioritize our self-care, because when you take care of yourself, you can take care of others better. So I did do that last week because I started every day with my cup of coffee and my morning routine, including some knitting and crochet. I was working on my advent blankets and that went very well and was very relaxing and heart jumping every morning, and the rest of the week was not. No, that's not true. That's not true. We will end with a success story, with a love story. So there was an unexpected, really big heart jumping moment with a new cast on. I will tell you all about. But first I want to share my frustration. Let's start with this one. Oh, no, I don't need that one. This is not a project anymore. These are two tries. Try one, try two. Nothing on the needles anymore. I am knitting the Springline tee with this beautiful yarn. It's green hand-dyed yarn. It's actually a sock yarn. It's dyed by a Dutch dyer. Her name is Leah and her company is called Koperdraadje. And this is yak sock. 70% merino, 20% yak and 10% polyamide, nylon. I never knitted with yak before, I guess. I saw this at the knitting event, the Breidagen, in April. And I really love this color. And also one of the ladies who was helping in Leah's stand was wearing a beautiful tee, also in green, and it was lovely. The shape, the model, it was a plain tee with a lot of stockinette and 2 lace panels at both sides. And it was the Springline tee by Samantha Guerin, and I thought I want to make that tee too. So I did buy the pattern and I casted it on during my cast on party, and I was having fun. It was a lovely pattern. There were only 2 things that were not going very smooth and well, and one of the things was the lace panel. This pattern the construction is quite interesting because this is the back. Oh, no, it's not a headband. I don't wear headbands anymore. I'm headbandless still. I miss my headbands every now because I love the special touch, but it's not feeling Sarah anymore. So this is the back, and you are knitting a construction. You are knitting the sleeves immediately, and I love that. So I was knitting it, and the lace panel, which I love, it didn't look nice, and it was so hard for me to memorize the lace knitting. And that surprises me because it's absolutely not a difficult lace pattern. It's quite easy, but I just can't memorize it. It has 2 repeats on both sides. When I knitted this one, and I knitted stockinette, and I forgot all when I was at this lace panel. And I think it has a little bit to do. That's the only thing I can think, because I knitted lace a lot and I love knitting lace. I think it has to do that you are knitting back and forth. So you knit at the right side, you knit lace, and I am only used to knit lace every other round. It doesn't matter if you knit in the round or you knit back and forth, but you do something special and then you do a plain row of knitting and you knit the stitches as they come. But this one also has some lace knitting in at the wrong side. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's just too much for my brain. Maybe it was just too much for my stress brain. Now, that's not true, because also when I was relaxed, when I cast it on, I was struggling with it. And my mom, she's knitting the same tee together with me. Or not really together, we are just knitting the same, so that's really lovely. But hers looks much better than mine. My mom does knit much neater than I do. She's a tighter knitter. She does knit English. She knits English style. And also her lace was looking much better. But I thought, okay, it doesn't matter. I have that more often with lace. When the garment is finished, when it's blocked, it will come all good. So I trusted in that. But later I realized that my gauge was quite loose. And I was knitting on 2.75mm needles, so that I already went some needles down. I'm a bit struggling with my needle organization in my cast on party. I casted on a lot of projects, and what I didn't think of was that I casted on a lot of fingering weight projects. But I have a certain amount of needles, and I have quite a lot of needles, but I couldn't knit every garment in the needle I wanted, I guess. but I didn't think that was the case with this one. 2.75, but it was quite loose, and because of the merino and the yak, they are both very soft and it's superwash, so it will grow. And I also went up one size. I always pick quite fitted sizes, and I decided this summer to go up one size for every garment I make, because I'm a bit worried. No, not worried. I'm not worried. I think maybe I pick a size too small. I love the fitted look of the garments, but they are mainly not designed to be fitted. So I am every now and then struggling with that it just stays this way, or just it doesn't feel as comfortable as I want to. And in the beginning of the year I was fitting some garments of other knitters in bigger sizes. I always had I had a strong thought that when it was too wide, too loose, it wouldn't look good at me. Because I'm small, I love to wear white skirts and white dresses, so let the upper part be fitted. But when I was fitting bigger garments, one size bigger or even two size bigger, they were looking very good and they were much more comfortable to wear. So that makes me a little bit doubting right now. So I decided, let's knit all the garments one size bigger and then we will know. But this one was looking very big. And I thought, okay, it will grow. It is loose. It is already one size bigger. It's not a round yoke construction. It is, I don't know how you call this construction. But yeah, I think it can be nice to have a wider summer shirt, which is very airy, but it might be a little bit too much. So I decided to start over again. I went down 2 needle sizes from 2.75 to 2.25 millimeter needles, and still the same size. Oh, I did check my gauge. That was why I decided that my gauge was off. I have this little gauge ruler, this wooden thing. It's really helpful. It's with my name on it. It was a gift from a Belgian knitter. Her name is Jolina. And she makes those kind of things. And before I just had a cardboard thing. I cut out a square with a 10 by 10 centimeter square. Is it 2.5 inch? No. No. 1 centimeter is 2.5 inch. 4 inch, I guess. And that worked also pretty good. I couldn't find it. I still have it, and I thought it was in one of my knitting books and I wanted to show you, but I couldn't find it. But it's really helpful to check your gauge. So I did, and my gauge was off. I think I had 22 or 23 stitches and I needed 25. I'm not quite sure, but that's what my memories are telling me. So I thought, okay, let's start over. I didn't frog it because the yarn is crinkled, and it's like this. And when I just knit with this yarn again, especially with the stockinette, it will be very visible and messy. I had that with the socks for my friend. It didn't block out, so I'm a little bit careful with that right now. And I thought mainly I have some yarn left after finishing a project, so I thought, okay, maybe I can use it in a scrappy project, and then it's not really, or in a scrappy sock, it's not really a problem that it's a little bit wonky, the stitches. And when I do need it, I can make it wet and try to decrinkle it, and but maybe I don't need it. So I started over again, and my second try is here. It was looking much better on 2.25 millimeter needles. The fabric was more beautiful, the lace was more beautiful, but I made a mistake. And that was because I just had a few, maybe 15 minutes, 30 minutes of knitting time last week, and I picked this and I was a little bit busy and running, and I was not relaxed and I was not paying attention, and I couldn't memorize the chart, the lace knitting, so I made a mistake. And as you could see last week, I have no problems with fixing my mistake afterwards in lace. I just dropped the stitches and picked them up. So I did do that. I was stressed. I just needed some easy peasy knitting or crochet time, and then I was fixing a mistake in my lace. That's not what I needed, but I wanted it. I wanted to knit on this. I wanted to work on this, but you probably might understand that that didn't went right. It actually, I could pick up the stitches, but I was really stressed and really frustrated. So when I was knitting, I was making a mistake again. And then my frustration was so sky high that I just pulled out my needle and I unwound the whole project without thinking about, yeah, just I didn't want to. And when it was on my yarn cake back again, I thought, oh, maybe this was a little bit too impulsive, but it is what it is right now. This yarn is less crinkly because it just was only a knitted stitch, a knitted fabric for a few hours. This one is a knitted fabric for a few weeks and this for a few hours, and I wind it up quite tight, and I know it can stretch out your yarn, but I probably will knit with this. But my Springline tee, it is not happening right now. I don't know, I have the needles for it. I don't feel it right now. There's a lot of frustration in this lovely bag. It is all catched in the yarn and in the bag, and in the, when I see this bag I feel this so I think it needs some time to neutralize. It's a lovely bag. It's made by one of my knitting friends. I think we will just leave it where it is, neutralize it by just letting time pass, and then when I'm all back relaxed, we will try again. And it will work out. I do want a tee. I love the pattern. Maybe I can find a way to memorize the lace and it will be a success. But not today and not tomorrow, and maybe not even in June. Okay, then we had another pattern by Samantha Guerin. It has nothing, my frustration has nothing to do with her patterns. I never knitted a pattern before from Samantha Guerin. These two are my first ones. The patterns are very clear and very good and very well written, and it's absolutely, it has nothing to do with her, it does all to do with me. So this is my salty air tee, and it's also not going very smooth and very well. This pattern was gifted to me by one of my knitting friends years ago. She was wearing it and I immediately fell in love with her, with the salty air tee. It's a round yoke with some lace and I just loved it. It looked so good on her, and I wanted to knit one myself. But what did hold me back was it was a round yoke, and I'm struggling with round yoke knitted in fingering weight. So a lot of time and a lot of effort, and maybe not a perfect fit. Because of my round yoke struggle. But I did fit the salty air tee from my friend, and she knitted a few sizes bigger, and then I realized, okay, this is looking good, so I can knit a size bigger and it will work out for me, I guess. So I am knitting with Knitting for Olive Merino in a beautiful color. I think this is nut brown. It is not nut brown, it is nut brown. Nut brown. Not nut, but nut. In Dutch we call it note. Come on. Does it want to focus? Yeah, there it is. Yeah. So I was knitting on this tee and really happy. I did knit the border, and then, oh, there's dog hair everywhere. Bobby is shedding. She is shedding a lot. She is putting out her winter coat, and it is everywhere. So I was knitting, I didn't knit to pull to rip, that's different than the pattern, and I was really having fun. And then there were a lot of short rows and it all went good and smooth. And then I started the lace pattern and it all went good and smooth. There was not knitting frustration in the knitting, but I didn't like the look of it. It was just too loose. As you can see, loose and messy. I'm knitting on a 3.25mm needles, and that's way too big for me for fingering weight. And I didn't think of the merino yarn. So I was knitting the lace and I was, oh, I don't love the look of it. And of course it will block out. And suddenly I thought it will block out, but I'm knitting with Knitting for Olive Merino. It will grow. So I'm knitting a tee in a size bigger than I normally do on a loose gauge with merino. It will be enormous. It could be enormous. And then I immediately quit knitting because I thought, okay, this is not what I wanted. I need to rip it out, not a ribbing, but I need to go back all the stockinette, and then I knit on a smaller gauge. I did try to measure my gauge, but it was a little bit hard because these are short rows and in the round, and the shape was not really matching my gauge ruler. So it is absolutely off gauge, but I don't know how much. So I have no needles left for this project right now. I think I want to knit on 2.75. I might have them left from the other one. I don't know. Because I have so many things happening on my needles, I don't know where my needles are. Normally when I have less projects on my needles, I know I'm knitting that with that needle and that with that needle, and I don't know now. I do keep my administration quite well, so I can search for it because I was aware that this would happen. So I can check on my Ravelry, but I don't know it by head. And then so I need to go back a little bit and then redoing the short row, starting the lace again. But yeah, it's not happening. It's just waiting here until Sarah's a bit more relaxed. There's not as much frustration in this project as in this one, but still there is frustration. But we have also good things to share. So let's end with some love stories, because otherwise energy will drop, frequency will drop. We won't want that. I did start on the Fladder make-along, organized by my friend. I shared about it last week in last week's episode, and I only want to show you a quick I will link all down below. It is in Dutch, so I don't know if it's interesting for you. You can translate the messages. You get a question every day to crochet a little or knit or whatever you want to do. It's a make along to do a little thing, and while you are making it, you let your thoughts flutter around a specific question, a specific theme. Lonneke, my knitting friend, is giving to you, so it's really inspiring. And I decided to make a flower garland. This is my own pattern on my blog many years ago. Also, it is in Dutch, so yeah, but you can use Google Translate. So I started with the leaves, and I crocheted one flower for day 1, June 1st. It's every day in June, and I already unraveled. Ooh, oh, that's how it goes all week. I already unraveled my little leaf because yeah, it's just not secured, but that's not a problem. Today I will crochet the second flower, and I decided to make them all plain white and just let it happen. So that was really yesterday a heart jumping moment, and it all went well immediately. So no frustration in this project. I also have a new cast on, which is really heart jumping and also really unexpected. I didn't plan to make it. I didn't know I wanted it. When you would have asked me, I would have said, no, that's not my kind of thing. I don't like that, but it's making me so happy. I was watching Emma Robinson's episode last week. Emma Robinson from the Woolly Mammoth Fiber. She has a sweet little baby boy. Congrats, Emma. I don't know if you watch this, but I was watching it, and she had a sweet little baby boy, and she crocheted him a blanket, a baby blanket. It was a very big baby blanket with a long rows with only, it was crochet, with only the simple crochet stitch. And I checked the translation. In Dutch we call it een vaste. In US terms you call it a single crochet, and in UK terms you call it a double crochet. Just to keep things clear. I saw that blanket and I knew I wanted to. I wanted to, and I want it now. And it's quite interesting because I actually don't really like blankets with only single crochets, or things with only single crochets. I don't like doing it. I'm really a granny stitch lover. I really love that stitch cluster, and that's really relaxing, but just the single crochets. But it was something in the color blend that really resonated with me, and I thought, okay, let's do it. And a few months ago I decided to make baby blankets because I feel the need to cast on a blanket every now and then, and it can be Blankets are big projects. They need a big amount of yarn, they need a very big amount of time, and we have a lot of blankets in the house because I'm a blanket lover. I love to make blankets. So I decided maybe I can fill my blanket need, my desire to make blankets with smaller baby blankets, and I can bring them to charity, to a hospital or whatever, or I can give them as a present to friends or family. Just let me make a big pile of baby blankets. I can use colors I don't want to use for myself, or stitch patterns or whatever. But that was not what I wanted right now. I have 2 blankets on my needles. No, 3. I have my northeasterly blanket, I have my bits and bobs blanket, and I have my woodland ripple blanket. So enough blankets, and they will all stay in the house. But here is blanket number 4. It has no name actually. It also has no pattern. This is my bed blanket. This is a very, very long blanket. I don't know how many stitches I casted on. It's for our bed. We have a king size bed, I guess you call it like that. We sleep in that bed with 2 together, but you have different sizes of 2 persons bed. This is a king size. Now I'm not quite sure. When I need to buy bed sheets, I need to lisumo. But I don't know how you say that in English. I don't even know how you say it in Dutch. In Dutch we say a groot bed, a big bed. It was very handy when the kids were little. So we slept a lot together with the kids, and there was a lot of space. I don't like it when it's very narrow. So I need my space in the night. So we have a big bed. So the only thing I did was just crochet a chain, a lot of chains. When I have the right width of the bed, I stopped and I didn't count. And then I just crocheted single crochets or doubles, depends where you're watching. And it's just endless. And I really asked myself, do you want to make such a big blanket? And I really felt a strong yes. And when I was crocheting, I realized why I felt a strong yes. The endless rows are so calming and so relaxing. It's just endless. It are hundreds of stitches, and it's just so exactly what I needed. I have a big basket filled with yarn. Let me show it to you. It's a big mess. It's a very big mess, so don't be scared of the mess. I don't. This is the. I can't show it better to you because then it will all fall out. Once this basket was very neat. I really love to organize my yarn baskets. There, as you can see, I made yarn cakes from a lot of yarn balls just because they were easier to organize than the yarn balls. It's all cotton and plant fiber and linen. This, for example, is linen. And it was almost all gifted to me by Long Yarns. I worked for Long Yarns a few years ago. I did do their social media in the Netherlands, and they sent me big boxes with all the yarn, the new yarns, the new colors, one skein, one yarn ball of every color. So also a lot of cotton, and I was allowed to keep it. I made the pictures and then it was for me. So I decluttered all the things I really didn't like or didn't use. I gave it away. But there was a lot left, and I have a big stash of cotton. Yeah, it's just good yarn, but it are not really my colors, or it are not sweater quantities, only one yarn ball. And yeah, I don't make blankets in cotton anymore. Yeah, until now. I prefer wool, so I didn't really know what to do. Every now and then I make something for my little niece because that can be colorful, but I don't really wear those colorful things myself. So it was just laying there, and my girls, every now and then, they picked a little bit out of it to use. Of course, my youngest, she crochets a lot, and also my oldest daughter, she likes to make those bracelets, so they can use it, but we have a lot. And I don't mind having a lot, but a little bit of movement every now and then in your yarn stash can be refreshing, especially the things I really love and the yarns that are really hard jumping to me. they can lay on the shelves. They can be there forever, and I don't feel any pressure. But the yarns which are not really hard jumping or not really hard jumping anymore, I feel a little bit more restless about. My belly is making noise. We need some lunch. I'm sorry. I hope you can't hear it. I have a very noisy belly. So yeah, I like it when there is some movement every now and then. So these are not really my colors. I love the colors, but and I love colors in general. But yeah, it's not specifically my colors. But because the small stitches with the single crochets or the double crochets, there is an interesting blend. When I would have crocheted this with the granny stitch, I think that quite some rows would feel as a mismatch. But because the stitches are so small, it blends in a total different way and there's no mismatch. I will do a brown stripe. Yeah, it was actually my plan to make a brown stripe every 10 round because I love multiply of 10. But somehow my brain was stressed. Somehow I did it the 7th round and now I get an error in my head. Do I need to, the whole blanket, make a brown stripe every 7? I don't have special feelings with the number 7, but I think it will happen. So it's now time for a brown stripe. So there will be more brown. Maybe that was what I need. A little bit of Sarah sauce with the color brown in a very bright striped blanket. So I'm knitting on a 4mm crochet needle. I'm using the clovers. The purple ones. I love the color, not specific, I'm not a purple lover, but I love that you can recognize the size to the color. I would have loved the knitting needles to be a little bit with the color code too, so you don't have to watch on your Chow Goose. You can't read it anyway, you always need to search for that thing you can put your knitting needles in. This is just I know it. Purple is 4mm. So yeah, it really, the fabric feels nice, and I have no idea if I really want this blanket on my bed. I have also no idea if I really want to make such a big blanket, but it's for now. It's so hard jumping. It's really a recharge activity for me. It is in this basket in our bedroom, and every time when I'm upstairs, our laundry is upstairs, our washing machine is there. When I need to put on the dry the laundry, hang it on the line, at the line, over the line. I always take a little break and just need crochet some stitches. Just the endless plain crochet row is really calming and relaxing. I was listening to a podcast and they were sharing something about the way of breathing. 4 seconds in, 6 seconds out. That would be really de-stressing. So relieving your stress. This is also really relieving your stress. You can do the breathe thing while you are crocheting, but just crochet 100 of stitches or maybe more. It's just and all is going well and smooth. So this was exactly what I needed. So thank you, Emma, for the inspiration. Yeah, it was just perfect. Exactly what I needed. Really relaxing, really happy. Yeah. Okay, so this was it for this week. I think my week will be more easy and not as stressful as last week was. So I hope there will be more knitting time. I think it is a good plan to start with some easy peasy crochet and knitting. Not immediately go back to the more challenging things. So I can recharge my battery with some endless crochet or knitting, mindless. And then pick up the more difficult projects. I hope I will remember that. I also really love to knit the difficult things, but I need enough space here to make them successful. And I am not looking forward to any more knitting frustration at the moment. So I hope I can share more hard jumping stories next week. Although this was really a hard jumping story, so we don't complain. It's good as it is. But frustration is also part of the creative process. Yeah, I guess it's very recognizable for every knitter or crocheter. Yeah, I wish you a very good week. I hope you have enough heart jumping moments. If you can't find them, create them, because we need them. Start at the beginning of the day with your heart jumping moments, because then they are already in your pocket the rest of the day. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for being here, and maybe I will see you next time. Bye bye.